This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome back to Live Talk with Dr. B. Hill. Unfortunately, she is not here with us this week, but she's healing slowly at home. So if we have any visitors today and you would like to ask questions, please use the chat button up in the right-hand corner. We're going to have some good discussion today about DNA and children. So Dr. Doug Smith is here to lead that discussion on. Dr. Smith,
Hey, Chrissy, how are you today?
I'm blessed. I hope you are.
Always. And Sam?
Good, good. How are you?
Good, good. And Travis? Hey, Travis, how are you?
Hey, Dr. Smith, how are you? Hello,
Oh,
everyone.
good, good.
Hey,
Okay,
Travis.
so we had
Hey,
our
Sam.
10 a.m. this morning, and as promised, I announced to everybody that Thursdays are going to be the day that we have a discussion about whether or not the children and grandchildren are possibly at greater risk of a learning disability or autism because of the genetic damage. And every time we say that, all of us, each one of us, we have to get in the habit of saying we don't know.
Mhm.
We must. There's two things that we have a responsibility. If we're going to put ourselves in this position, and we're going to be in a position where people are coming to us for information, there are two things we are required to say. Number one, we don't know. We don't know. There's no scientific evidence yet. We have suspicions, we have circumstantial evidence, we have anecdotal evidence, but we don't have enough scientific evidence to say conclusively. The second thing we must always say, and Sam, Travis and I are really looking to you to carry this on your shoulders, Sam. Okay. Travis and
Okay.
I are really looking to you to carry this on your shoulders. Sam, these people must be told that it's not their fault.
Absolutely.
They feel guilt, Sam. They feel guilt.
Of course.
Okay. And Travis and I and Chrissy and Dr. B, quite honestly, Sam, we can't relate to it or understand it like you can.
Yeah.
So Sam, I think on behalf of all of us, and I think I'm speaking for everybody when I say, Sam, if you were able to pursue a career that got you certified as a counselor,
Mhm.
it would be um, it would benefit everyone greatly, even yourself, Sam.
Well, I've looked into that, especially after we talked about that some yesterday and talked to a few people. And the lady that I talked to said, um, finally, she said, I've been waiting for you to come to me and ask me this. I've been, I've had all this information for you, just waiting for you to come and talk to me about it. So I'm kind of excited now that I did go and talk to her. I'm glad you said something. Like I told you yesterday, it had been in the back of my mind for some time. Talk to my family about it. They think it would be a wise decision too. So I'm all in.
Sam,
So
I think
I
you'll learn what people really think about you.
yeah, I think that's probably something I need too in my life. So I'm excited for that.
All right, then Sam, I got three graphics we want to show you today, and I think it's pretty
Okay.
important we show all three.
Okay.
Uh, we're Travis and I are the worst about. We get one graphic up there, and then we start talking about it, and before we know it, show's over. Okay,
Yeah.
we have done that so many times. So what we're going to do right now is go through all three graphics, um, and then we'll have a discussion. So the first one there, okay, um, you've got to be careful. You got to be really careful with the title of this article,
Mhm.
because if you just glance at it, okay, you walk away thinking that it says that 68% of the children that experience withdrawal had developmental delays, and that's not what it says.
Right.
It says they're 68% more likely.
Right.
Okay, So it's not 68% of the children. And the third graphic is a graph from this article. But Chrissy, if you would, let's pull up the second graphic, and then we'll move on to the third. Now, this is the one. This is the one that had the most impact on me. And Travis, I think you also clued in on this graphic, if I remember correctly, because the year 1996, that's the year that this graphic starts. See on the far left-hand side down at the bottom, the first little number is 1996, and how everything went up after 1996.
Yes.
The reason I think that's so important is because OxyContin was approved by the FDA in 1996.
Wow.
I think we can call this the OxyContin graph.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Travis, you are Mr. Common Sense. And part of common sense is you're very suspicious of coincidences. It sure would be coincidental that the same year that OxyContin was approved is the same year this autism started going up. That's almost too much to be coincidental. Is that a fair statement?
That's a very fair statement, Dr. Smith.
And Travis, I know you well enough now to know that in your mind, you're already thinking about the class action lawsuit and thinking about what will be said to these companies and thinking about the words that these companies are not only going to have to hear, but they're going to have to acknowledge and accept the responsibility for. And Travis, my guess is in your mind, this chart just became part of that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it did. Most definitely.
Yeah. No, that's one of the things we all love about working with you, Travis, is your mind never stops, ever. Your mind, you're constantly, and this is why you're going to be such an incredible lead plaintiff. Just like Sam is going to be such an incredible counselor. You're going to be such an incredible lead plaintiff because you don't have to be told to do what's right or to do things. They just come naturally to you. Putting together this lawsuit is a you're a natural for it. You're already doing it. It's already being organized in your mind. And I told you last night that it is our hope that we can get the funds together to put you out on the road in the public and in front of people speaking. Okay, I see Sam speaking to people, but more from the counseling perspective, and I see Travis speaking to people, but more from the
Public.
almost the promoting of the class action lawsuit, sharing with people why they should think about joining it. But real quick, let's go to that third graphic here.
Thank you for that, Mr. Smith. I appreciate the kind words, by the way. Dr. Smith.
It's just the truth.
I appreciate it.
All I'm doing is saying what's true, and all I'm doing is saying what other people also recognize. Sam, is there anything that I said that's not true?
Absolutely not.
Well, thank you, guys. I take this very seriously, so I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me.
Travis, you're going to do a great job.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that doesn't mean you're not going to make some mistakes. Okay, I guarantee you, you are part of what makes you so effective is you're a very strong self-critic. You observe your own behaviors, and you are open. You're willing to critique your own behavior. And what's going to happen is your first interviews, when they're over, you're going to think back and you go, "Oh, I should have said this. Oh, I should have said that. Or why did I forget to say this?" And then by the time you've done it several times, you'll remember to say those things, and you're going to be very effective at it. Now, this, Sam, I think this is one of the most important graphics for you, Sam.
Hmm.
This is the data to share with other people.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you see the bottom line there, Sam, the blue line?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the rate of autism in the US population. Okay? That's the normal rate of autism.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, you see the red line?
Yes.
Okay. Those are our babies. Those are the babies that had
Yeah.
withdrawal. Okay? And you see it they're doing this. The bottom line is by age. Okay? How old
Hmm.
was the child when they were diagnosed?
Right.
Okay. And Sam, my guess is from your experience, you have found that the more profound the developmental delay, the earlier they're diagnosed.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's what you're looking at here, Sam. Okay.
Okay.
The blue line is normal. The red line is us.
Okay.
Okay. And let's just state the obvious here. Okay. The first thing you notice is that the red line is up higher than the blue line, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So what that means is more of our babies, more of the babies that experience withdrawal are developing um, autism.
Hmm.
Okay. But look at the actual numbers there on the side, 4% on the bottom, 7.2% on the top. So the important thing there, Sam, there's a whole lot of important things,
Hmm.
but probably the most important thing is that not every child developed autism.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Uh, 7.2, 7 out of 100. 7 out of 100 developed autism. Okay. 4 out of 100 normally would develop autism, but in our children, it really is about double, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is about double.
Hmm.
Okay. So Travis, you're looking at this from the perspective of the lawsuit. And I already know in your mind you're trying to figure out where this graph goes in the lawsuit. Okay. And Travis, I think the easiest way to remember it is that the kids who experience withdrawal had double. Let's just call it double. It's close enough. The kids who experience withdrawal had double the rate of autism.
I mean, of
Okay.
course, you can see it here on the on the graph. Excuse me.
Right.
That's a substantial amount of people. That's a big difference. That's a big
And
gap.
and as the warrior that you are, I already know this has gone into the category of they will pay for this.
Yes. To be honest with you, Dr. Smith, since the moment that it was brought up about a month ago, the first time anybody ever spoke about it, I think Dr. B mentioned it. Sam, you were on, I believe, when we first mentioned it. I can't remember if you
Yeah.
were or not, but I'm pretty sure you were. Ever since y'all talked about it that day, it's been on my mind. I haven't stopped thinking about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it does. It does. It and Sam, you may look at us like we're infants, like we're neophytes, because you've been living with this for years.
No. Yeah. No.
Okay, and Travis and I haven't been, but I agree with Travis. Ever since this became apparent, it doesn't leave your mind. It's there. Um, and I worry about the people at home who, Sam, let me ask it this way. And then
Okay.
Travis and I are going to be quiet and we want to hear what you have to say about this. Okay. Sam, did your child experience withdrawal?
No.
Okay. All right. Then you're not going to be able to answer this question. We need someone to call into this show. I might ask Susie to send out a text. Okay. Next Thursday on this show, we need to talk to people whose children experience withdrawal.
I may can help with that.
Okay. Because the question is, did the parent feel guilt over that experience?
Well, okay, here's my thing though. Like I've told y'all before, I have one child who is perfect, nothing is wrong with, and then I have one child that has autism. Here's where my guilt really comes in. So the one child that has nothing wrong with her, I done drugs with up until the day she was born. Up laying in the hospital, I was still doing drugs. Nothing wrong with her. My son, I quit doing anything so that because I felt so guilty about my other child being perfect pretty much that I was so scared about this child, because I was even worse on drugs by that point. So I had quit doing everything. So then when he I mean, I knew that something was wrong, not instantly I didn't, but it wasn't even a year. I mean, he wasn't a year old. He wasn't 6 months old because he wasn't meeting milestones. He wouldn't sit up, he wouldn't talk, he wouldn't try to look at anybody, and come to find out what started it all is he had vision problems. That's what started all this, you know. And then I mean, he got glasses, so he started making milestones, but at the same time, he wouldn't try to talk or say anything, and I think that's where my guilt came in most of all because here I was thinking, I done all this at first and she was fine, and then I didn't do anything and he got punished, you know. So I think that had a lot. I don't know, just so much to do with my guilt that I mean, and then you even go back and say, well, if I would have thought that, I could have not been sick that whole 9 months, because I made myself just sick, and then I think, gosh, I mean, can't even believe I said that because talking about the life of my child, you know, I mean, it's horrible to think that, but I couldn't even enjoy being pregnant because I was so sick.
You were in withdrawal.
Absolutely bad. I mean, not
So
the
you
whole
were
9 months, of course, but
just using like basically just enough to like
to
kind
not
of.
be sick.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're still sick though. I know exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking about. You were using just enough to where you weren't really you weren't getting to that point where you like can't function, but you were still not doing enough to where you felt normal. I know exactly what you're
right,
talking about. I
right.
get what you're saying. Yeah. See,
Yeah,
only somebody that has done opioids would understand what you're
right.
saying. So I
Yeah,
get exactly what you're saying.
yeah. It's hard to
Um,
explain, I guess, to
I-
somebody that hasn't.
you're right, Travis. I was not I did not understand, and um, always point out, because you'll have listeners like me,
Hmm.
who don't understand. So thank you for pointing that out. Sam, does the you're doing your DNA test next week,
Hmm.
and I think we
I
all know it's going to come back normal, come back abnormal, right?
Yeah,
Sam, will that help with the guilt?
absolutely.
Okay, okay. So Sam, and I want Travis to hear this also. Can this DNA test help these parents who are experiencing guilt?
I don't see why not. I mean, to me, I am the world's worst critic of myself. I've done the worst of the worst, and I mean, if anybody needs me to go into detail about that, I will. But just know when I say I've done the worst of the worst, I've done the worst of the worst. And this DNA test to me proves that it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault that, and I know that we don't know officially, but in my mind, when you say we don't know, we know. And The only reason I say that is because I'm a mama, and I know. I'm a mom who done those drugs, and I'm a mom who's seen that child for the last 10 years. You know, I've watched him grow, and I've watched two that has had different lifestyles, and I just know. And that's probably how all these other parents and grandparents are feeling, is they just know, because
Sam,
they probably have other children.
are the pharmaceutical companies responsible for what happened to your child?
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
And today I'll say no, but give me my DNA results and I'll say yes.
So Sam, what you're saying, and Travis, correct me if I'm going off track here. But what let me tell you what I heard you say, and you tell me if this is what you wanted me to hear, okay? What I heard you say is that by having the scientific evidence that your DNA was damaged by the opioids and by the opioid manufacturers, that this allows you the process to transfer the responsibility for what happened to your child off of your shoulders and onto them.
Yes. I mean, I'm still going to have the responsibility, so I don't get to lay everything on them. I still have the child that I love and that would not give anything for, because he has taught me so much in this life, and he has brought me to this point. And he's taught me how strong I have to be and how strong I can be. But it's just going to show me that, you know what, all these times that I've thought how much I've thought and blamed it on myself because of me taking that drug, then now I know that it really wasn't my fault and I really didn't have a choice.
All right, Sam, let me throw this, and then Travis, I want to hear your thoughts on this also. Sam, let me throw this at you. And I've heard Travis say this. So let me throw this at you. If you had been told that the opioids would damage your DNA and that damage could be passed down to your child, if you had been told that, would you have not taken the opioids?
Absolutely not.
But see, you weren't given that option.
No.
So
I was
Sam,
actually told the opposite.
right? The point
And
here
and I'm
is
sure everybody was.
the point here is the overwhelming majority, probably 100% of these parents and grandparents that we're going to be working with, if they had been given the option, they never would have
Mhm.
done it. That could have
Absolutely.
their child or grandchild. All right,
I believe
Travis.
that with all my heart.
Travis, do you does it make
You,
sense here that
you,
the real kernel? We've got to boil this down to its essence. We've got to be able to condense this into a kernel that people can hold and understand and look at. And I would put forth to the two of you that one candidate to be our stake in the ground is that if these parents and grandparents had been told that the opioids would damage their DNA, and that's been known scientifically since 2009. If they had been told that the opioids would damage their DNA, they never would have done anything that would have harmed their children or grandchildren.
that's you took the words right out of my mouth, Dr. Smith. I actually was going to tell Sam that you know,
Mhm.
Dr. Smith made up the same, he brought the same point to my attention, a couple of months ago when we first started this thing. And it made me feel a lot better. The
Yeah.
same question he just asked you. If the doctors or your provider would have told you about the methylation or your DNA being damaged or anything like that, if you knew about all the toxicity, if you knew about it and you had that choice, that knowledgeable choice, would you have still taken the opioids? Well, I said the same thing. No, of course I wouldn't have. And as soon as he asked me that question, it made me feel a lot better because I realized, why am I beating myself up? I was never given the correct choice. I was never given the correct knowledge about the drug that I was taking. I wasn't told anything. So why will I continue to beat myself up when I
Right.
didn't even know what I was getting myself into. I had no idea. And I
Absolutely.
and I want you to do the same thing. Like, don't beat yourself up
Oh
because
yeah.
we didn't know we were taking this product that hadn't been tested properly, and just put out here for us to take and poison our DNA. We didn't know
Yeah.
that. We had no idea this was going to happen. So, that's one thing I was going to point out. Dr. Smith took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It made me feel a lot better when he pointed that out. And I just want you to remember, don't beat yourself up because,
Oh
like he
yeah.
said, you didn't have that choice.
Now at this point where I'm at and what I know now, I'm past the point of beating myself up, and now well, I almost said the word, Dr. Smith. Now I'm in the justice part stage of it. But I almost went the R word.
The R word.
But now, yeah.
By the way, let's start using the right, as Sam is saying, we must use the proper terms. And so both of you are going to have to start using the term informed consent. Our people
Informed
were
consent.
denied the process of
Informed consent. Okay.
informed
Yes.
consent.
Got you.
Informed consent
Hmm.
um, means that you were given the evidence ahead of time and allowed to make your own decision. Our people were denied the informed consent, and therefore they were denied the opportunity to make an informed decision.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay. We got you. But I just thought
Right.
that was a really good point because when you asked me that, Dr. Smith, it made me feel a lot better. And I'm sure it made you feel a little bit better when you heard that question too, because it gets you thinking that, he's right. We did not have
Yeah.
informed consent. We weren't
Absolutely.
given any knowledge about it. So, he's right about that.
Yep.
In fact, Travis, I would say that what we're what we're doing here is also organizing the proper words for your class action lawsuit. You are the lead plaintiff, so it's your class action lawsuit. And part one of the biggest crimes, and this probably could possibly be a crime, is that the pharmaceutical companies denied the process of informed consent.
Yes. Yes, they
Hmm.
did. They dropped the ball 100%,
Now,
especially when
I'll
it
have to
comes to
go and
informed
look.
consent.
And I will go back and look at the United Nations uh, uh, Bill of Rights, patient rights. Uh, I don't know off the top of my head if informed consent is considered a part of the Bill of Rights. I don't. I'll have to look. I will look that up. It has not been 30 minutes.
I guess it has.
It has, yes.
Hey, Sam,
Um,
before
Uh,
you get off, give me 2 minutes after we stop recording because I got to
okay.
ask you a question, okay?
Okay.
I also wanted to
Sam,
bring up another valid point that maybe we can discuss next Thursday. Not just autism, but what about the other problems, like with my grandchildren that may have stemmed from the opioids,
Oh, I have
such as
tons of
rheumatoid
information.
arthritis and ADHD. And,
Hmm.
there's just so many other things that could make our
Yeah.
numbers go up
It's
with
not
the
just autism.
autism.
ADHD is one
Yeah.
thing that goes with autism a lot of times,
Hmm.
or that's
Yeah.
diagnosed on its own because a child doesn't actually reach the autism stage. So
Bipolar, all
Correct.
that's a
sorts of
big thing too,
things.
is ADHD.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. So maybe next
Yeah.
Thursday we can
Yeah.
discuss that a little
We
bit.
will. We will. I'll make a note of that to talk about that next week.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, live with Dr. B. Hill, every Monday through Thursday, 12:30 to 1. So y'all have a blessed weekend since we won't be here tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Happy holidays.
Thanks.